My beloved soul, listen carefully. Sometimes silence is not rejection. It is preparation. What felt like a delay may have actually been something deeper, being quietly arranged behind the scenes. And now it feels like the meaning behind that silence is about to unfold. The quiet season is breaking. You are not being ignored. Your heart is being protected. Let this be an act of agreement with what heaven is releasing over your life. Let this be a sign that your faith is still active. Stay connected to what is being revealed in this season. Do not miss what is unfolding. Seal your belief that the silence around your soulmate is breaking right now. There are moments in destiny when heaven moves quietly, and then there are moments when heaven speaks. You have been living in the quiet. You have prayed in silence. You have wondered in silence. You have loved in silence. You have questioned why nothing seemed to move. But silence does not mean absence. Silence often means strategy. While you were waiting, two hearts were being prepared at the same time. While you were questioning, paths were being aligned. While you were feeling unseen, a chapter was being written that you could not yet read. The truth is, the silence around your soulmate was never punishment. It was protection. Some connections require maturity before manifestation. Some unions require healing before reunion. Divine connection is not released into chaos. It is released into readiness, and readiness takes time. You are not delayed. You are being developed. Your soulmate was not distant. They were being refined. Do not skip this moment. What you are hearing right now is confirmation. The silence is breaking not because of desperation, but because preparation has reached completion. Something inside you has shifted. You are not chasing the same way. You are not begging the same way. You are not doubting the same way. Your energy is calmer. Your faith is stronger. And when your inner world stabilizes, your outer world begins to respond. There were nights when you wondered if you imagined the connection. There were days when you questioned if the signs meant anything. There were moments when you almost convinced yourself to move on completely. But something deep inside, you would not let go. That was not obsession. That was recognition. Divine recognition does not fade easily because it is not built on surface attraction. It is rooted in spiritual alignment. The silence was allowed, so both of you could confront your fears, so both of you could face your insecurities, so both of you could grow beyond patterns that would have destroyed the union too early. If the connection had happened when you first wanted it, it would not have survived. Timing is not denial. Timing is mercy. Stay with me till the end. Something powerful is waiting for you. The breaking of silence does not always begin with a message or a phone call. It begins in the spirit. It begins when resistance weakens. It begins when pride softens. It begins when fear loses its grip. Somewhere your soulmate is thinking differently. Somewhere their heart is softening. Somewhere the wall they built is starting to crack. You may not see it yet, but movement has begun. The divine does not reveal everything at once. It reveals in layers. And this is the layer where clarity replaces confusion. The reason you suddenly feel peace instead of panic is because heaven is signaling transition. The season of uncertainty is ending. The season of revelation is beginning. The silence was never meant to last forever. It was a sacred pause, a divine intermission, a space where both of you could learn what love truly requires. Love is not only emotion, it is responsibility, it is healing, it is patience. And both of you needed to understand that before coming together. Do not leave yet. Heaven has more to reveal. The breaking of silence may come through unexpected channels. A conversation you did not plan. A confession you did not anticipate. An apology you thought would never arrive. Or even a sudden inner knowing that it is time to reconnect. When silence breaks, it is done with precision. It is done when hearts are ready to listen instead of react. You have grown stronger than you realize. The version of you that once felt anxious now carries quiet confidence. The version of you that once feared abandonment now trusts divine timing. This growth is the evidence that preparation is complete. And when preparation meets divine timing, manifestation follows naturally. If you remain till the end, the final word will change everything. Here is the truth you have been waiting to hear. Your soulmate is not lost. They are not replaced. They are not erased from your destiny. If this connection was written, it cannot be undone by silence. Silence does not cancel covenant. Distance does not delete destiny. The silence is breaking because both hearts have learned what they needed to learn. Pride is lowering, understanding is increasing, and what was once complicated is becoming clear. The breakthrough will not feel chaotic. It will feel calm. It will feel aligned. It will feel certain. Hold your faith steady. The quiet season shaped you. The waiting season strengthened you. And now the revealing season is approaching. When the silence breaks, you will realize it was worth every tear, every prayer, every moment of doubt. Because what is restored after silence carries depth, stability, and peace. This is not about forcing outcomes. It is about trusting orchestration. It is about believing that the author of your story knows exactly when to turn the page. And the page is turning. The silence is ending. The revelation is near. Stay expectant. Stay grounded. Stay faithful. Heaven is speaking again, and this time it is speaking clearly about your soulmate. And when heaven speaks clearly, confusion loses its authority. What once felt uncertain begins to settle in your spirit with undeniable calm. You are not entering a season of emotional chaos. You are stepping into divine clarity. The breaking of silence is not loud drama. It is steady revelation. It is not forced movement. It is aligned progression. What is restored carries peace with it, not pressure. What is brought together flows with confirmation, not confusion. For too long, you interpreted the quiet as rejection, but in reality, it was refinement. Both hearts were being reshaped. Both minds were being renewed. Both spirits were being prepared for something that cannot be handled casually. This connection was never ordinary, and that is why it could not unfold in an ordinary way. Do not rush past this understanding. The weight of what is unfolding deserves your full attention. The silence served a purpose. It exposed wounds that needed healing. It revealed insecurities that needed confronting. It dismantled illusions that needed removing. And now that those layers have been stripped away, what remains is something real, something mature, something capable of lasting. Stay with me in this moment, because what is being revealed now is sacred. Your soulmate has also been going through their own awakening. While you were strengthening your faith, they were confronting their fears. While you were learning surrender, they were learning responsibility. While you were trusting divine timing, they were being humbled by it. Growth does not always look the same on two different people, but when the divine is involved, it leads to alignment. You may not know the details of their transformation, but you will recognize the fruit of it. When silence breaks, it will not sound like excuses. It will not sound like immaturity. It will not sound like confusion. It will sound intentional. It will sound sincere. It will sound ready. Do not skip this moment of realization. You are not waiting anymore. You are transitioning. The internal shift you feel is evidence that the season has changed. You are no longer obsessing over timelines. You are no longer anxiously checking for signs. Instead, there is a quiet confidence rising within you. That confidence is not ego. It is spiritual security. It is the knowing that what is meant for you does not require desperation. When silence breaks, it is not done halfway. It is done with clarity that removes doubt. There were times when you almost settled for less because the silence felt unbearable. There were moments when loneliness tried to convince you that any connection would do. But you were held back for a reason. Temporary comfort would have cost you permanent alignment. You were preserved, not postponed. You were guarded, not forgotten. The love written for you requires depth. It requires emotional intelligence. It requires spiritual maturity. And both of you needed time to cultivate those qualities. Do not leave yet. Heaven is still unveiling the deeper truth. The breaking of silence is not only about communication. It is about confirmation. It is about affirming that what you sensed was real. You were not imagining the connection. You were not foolish for believing in it. You were not naive for holding on to hope. Discernment was guiding you, even when logic tried to dismiss it. Divine connections are recognized in the spirit before they are validated in the physical. That is why you could feel something even when nothing was happening externally. If you remain attentive, you will notice subtle shifts before the obvious breakthrough arrives. You will sense peace replacing tension. You will feel hope rising without effort. You will experience dreams and thoughts aligning with calm assurance rather than anxiety. These are signs of spiritual movement. Heaven often whispers before it announces. The silence breaking does not mean chaos is coming. It means clarity is emerging, and clarity brings direction. Direction brings action. Action brings manifestation. Your story is not unfolding randomly. It is unfolding intentionally. There is no scrambling to fix delays. The timeline was orchestrated from the beginning. What feels sudden to you has been carefully prepared in the unseen. That is why you must trust the process, even when you cannot trace every detail. Stay grounded in faith. The temptation to control outcomes will try to resurface as movement begins. You may feel the urge to overanalyze every sign, every word, every interaction. Resist that urge. What is ordained does not need to be micromanaged. It needs to be received. Peace is your confirmation. Stability is your evidence. If something disrupts your inner calm, it is not from the source of peace. Divine alignment enhances peace. It does not threaten it. Stay with me a little longer, because this next truth is crucial. The silence also tested your identity. It forced you to confront who you are, without external validation. It required you to rediscover your worth independent of anyone's attention. That was not accidental. A sacred union cannot be built on insecurity. It must be built on wholeness. You are being reminded that you are complete even before the reunion. Love is not meant to complete you. It is meant to complement you. Now that you understand this, you are ready. And so are they. If you remain until the final word, the understanding will solidify within you. The breaking of silence is not only about romance. It is about destiny alignment. Some connections are assignments. Others are covenants. Assignments teach lessons and then end. Covenants transform lives and endure. What you are stepping into carries covenant weight. That is why the preparation was intense. That is why the waiting felt heavy. That is why the silence seemed endless. But endless seasons do end, and when they do, the reward carries depth that shallow connections never could. Breathe in this truth. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. The author of your love story does not abandon promises. If you were allowed to feel it, it is intended to be fulfilled in the right season. The silence was not a void. It was a womb, and what has been forming in that hidden space is about to be revealed. Expect maturity. Expect accountability. Expect sincerity. Expect peace. When the silence breaks, you will recognize the difference immediately. It will not feel forced. It will feel ordained. It will not feel rushed. It will feel timely. It will not feel uncertain. It will feel confirmed. And in that moment, you will understand why you were made to wait. Because what is coming is not only love, it is alignment. Not only emotion, but purpose. Not only reunion, but restoration. The silence is ending. And what follows will reflect the wisdom gained in the quiet. Stay faithful, stay discerning, stay expectant. Heaven has spoken, and what it has spoken will not return empty. When heaven speaks, timelines shift without chaos, and hearts awaken without force. What is unfolding now is not random emotion resurfacing. It is divine orchestration moving into visible form. The breaking of silence is the sound of destiny aligning with readiness. It is the moment when preparation meets permission. For a long time, you were being trained to trust without evidence. You were being taught to believe without confirmation. You were being refined in patience so that when manifestation arrived, you would not mishandle it. Now the atmosphere around your connection is changing. You may sense it in subtle waves of peace. You may feel it in sudden clarity, replacing confusion. You may notice that the anxiety that once gripped you no longer has authority. That is not coincidence, that is completion. Do not overlook this sacred transition. The quiet season matured your discernment. You no longer crave attention, you crave authenticity. You no longer desire intensity, you desire stability. You no longer chase fantasy, you seek covenant. That shift within you is evidence that you are prepared for something real. And when both individuals in a divine connection reach emotional and spiritual maturity, the restraint is removed. Silence only lasts as long as growth requires it. Once growth is achieved, movement begins naturally. Stay with me in this revelation, because what comes next carries weight. Your soulmate has been undergoing their own internal reckoning. They have confronted fears they once avoided. They have faced consequences of immaturity. They have realized that what they felt was not temporary attraction but lasting alignment. Sometimes distance clarifies what proximity once complicated. In the absence of your presence, they recognized your value. In the absence of communication, they understood the depth of the bond. Silence has a way of amplifying truth. Do not skip this moment of prophetic clarity. The breaking of silence will not be dramatic noise. It will be intentional pursuit. It will not be confusion disguised as passion. It will be direction guided by conviction. When someone is spiritually awakened to what they almost lost, their approach changes. They move with humility. They speak with sincerity. They act with responsibility. That is the fruit of divine preparation. You are not returning to an old version of this connection. You are stepping into a renewed expression of it. The past dynamic cannot survive in this new season because both of you have evolved. The divine does not revive something just to repeat dysfunction. It restores it to elevate it. If it returns transformed. That is why you must release any expectation rooted in old pain. The future of this connection cannot be built on the memory of its brokenness. It must be established on the wisdom gained from it. Do not leave yet. Heaven is still unveiling deeper assurance. You have questioned whether the silence meant the end. You have wrestled with doubt about whether you misheard. You have wondered if your hope was misplaced. But listen carefully. Divine connections are tested before they are revealed. What is weak collapses under silence. What is destined survives it. The fact that the bond remained in your spirit, despite external quiet, is proof that it carries covenant substance. Emotional infatuation fades quickly under distance. Spiritual alignment does not. That is why you could not fully detach. Not because you were stuck, but because something sacred was anchoring you. Stay attentive to your inner peace as this unfolds. Peace will be your compass. If reconciliation approaches with clarity and accountability, you will feel expansion, not tension. If communication resumes with maturity, you will sense stability, not chaos. The divine does not bring back what will break you. It brings back what will build you. Trust that discernment. Trust that growth. Trust that you are no longer the version of yourself that tolerated inconsistency. The silence strengthened your standards. It purified your expectations. It taught you that love must align with respect and responsibility. Stay with me until the end, because the final understanding will anchor your faith completely. The breaking of silence is not only about hearing from them, it is about hearing from within you. You are entering a season where you will not beg for clarity, you will embody it. You will not chase affirmation. You will attract alignment. You will not fear loss. You will trust divine order. This internal authority is what makes you ready for reunion. A healthy union requires two whole individuals choosing each other freely, not two wounded souls clinging out of fear. And now, wholeness has replaced desperation. That is why heaven is moving. Remember this truth as events begin to shift. You are not responsible for forcing destiny. You are responsible for stewarding your growth. If your soulmate steps forward with integrity, receive it with grace. If timing requires one more layer of patience, hold steady without panic. Either way, you remain aligned. Silence once tested your faith. Now revelation will strengthen it. The story did not end in quiet, it matured there. And what matures in the dark emerges with depth in the light. The love approaching you is not superficial excitement. It is seasoned understanding. It is not reckless emotion. It is intentional devotion. It is not unstable intensity. It is grounded commitment. That is why the delay was necessary. Joy was not being withheld. Stability was being prepared. Breathe in the assurance that you are seen. Every tear was recorded. Every prayer was heard. Every moment of surrender was honored. Nothing was wasted. The silence refined you into someone capable of sustaining the blessing you once prayed for. And now that capacity exists, the release can happen safely. Expect movement that feels calm. Expect conversations that feel clear. Expect steps that feel mutual. Divine alignment does not require manipulation. It unfolds with consent and confirmation. As heaven breaks the silence around your soulmate, it is also breaking residual fear within you. Fear that it would never happen. Fear that you misjudged the connection. Fear that waiting was foolish. Those fears are dissolving because truth is rising. The season of wondering is ending. The season of witnessing is beginning. And when it fully manifests, you will look back at the silence with gratitude instead of pain, because you will understand that what is built slowly is established securely. Remain anchored in faith. The shift is here. The silence has served its purpose. What comes next carries clarity, maturity, and peace. And when the reunion aligns with divine timing, it will not feel like uncertainty. It will feel like home restored, destiny confirmed, and love strengthened by everything it survived. And when love feels like home restored, you will finally understand why heaven refused to rush it. This ending is not simply the closing of silence, it is the unveiling of fulfillment. The quiet season was never empty space. It was sacred construction. Every delay carried intention. Every unanswered prayer carried hidden alignment. Every tear watered the soil of something that needed time to take root deeply. Now the roots are strong. Now the foundation is steady. Now what rises will not collapse under pressure, because it has been built beneath the surface first. You are not stepping into fantasy. You are stepping into formation completed. The silence had to break only after both of you could carry the weight of what this connection truly means. Love that carries destiny cannot be handled casually. It must be stewarded with maturity, guarded with wisdom, and nurtured with humility. That is what has been forming in both of you. Do not miss the magnitude of this transition. The one who allowed the silence is the same one who is now lifting the curtain. What is not prepared is not exposed. What is ready is revealed, and readiness has arrived. You will begin to notice that your spirit is no longer restless. Instead of wondering if it will happen, you feel anchored in knowing that it will unfold exactly as it should. That internal certainty is heaven's whisper confirming movement. The desperation that once tried to control outcomes has been replaced with trust. And trust is the language of alignment. When trust replaces fear, manifestation accelerates. When surrender replaces striving, destiny flows. This is why the silence had to stretch you. It had to purify your intentions. It had to remove ego. It had to strip away fantasy so that only truth remained. Because what is being restored cannot be sustained by illusion. It must be grounded in reality, strengthened by growth, and sealed by divine approval. You are no longer the version of yourself that once reacted emotionally to uncertainty. You are steady now. You are discerning now. You are secure now. And that security is what makes reunion safe. The love approaching you will mirror your evolution. It will not challenge your worth. It will honor it. It will not confuse your spirit. It will calm it. It will not create instability. It will cultivate partnership. Stay spiritually alert in this final stretch. The breaking of silence may arrive quietly, but its impact will be undeniable. A message may come. A conversation may unfold. An opportunity for reconnection may present itself in a way that feels natural and unforced. When it happens, you will recognize the difference between divine timing and emotional impulse. Divine timing carries peace even in intensity. Emotional impulse carries anxiety even in excitement. Choose peace. Respond with maturity. Allow alignment to breathe. You do not need to prove anything. You do not need to overextend yourself. What is ordained will meet you halfway. That is the mark of covenant. As this story reaches its turning point, understand this final truth deeply. Silence was not the enemy. It was the teacher. It revealed your resilience. It strengthened your faith. It taught you to seek before seeking validation. And because you chose growth over bitterness, heaven now entrusts you with restoration. This is not only about two people reconnecting. This is about two refined individuals stepping into divine partnership. The silence broke because the lesson was learned. The delay ended because maturity was achieved. The waiting season closed because readiness was established. Carry this assurance with you as you move forward. What is restored after silence carries depth, accountability, and permanence. It is not fragile. It is fortified. It is not temporary. It is intentional. And when it unfolds fully, you will see that nothing was wasted. Not the tears, not the doubts, not the nights of prayer. All of it shaped you for this moment. Heaven has broken the silence around your soulmate, not to tease you with possibility, but to align you with promise fulfilled. Trust the unfolding. Guard your peace. Remain anchored in faith, because what is written for you cannot be erased by distance, and what is ordained for you cannot be silenced forever. The quiet has ended. The clarity has arrived, and what comes next will reflect the wisdom born in the waiting.